Proceed with the countdown.
10,
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
0.
6 beep beep, the turkeys gobble, the sheep baa baa, and the cows moo moo. You might think it's an awful squabble. Quack quack moo. Beep beep bah.
I'm just spending. I bought out the whole bar. I'm just chilling.
I'll pick him up. Self when that guy comes around.
glorious.
Yeah, I'm saying it's the lips, it's the eyes.
Someday, put it together.
What are you doing?
Dance off, bro.
Let the tuning commence.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to Talk Hard. It's a great Tuesday. It makes my week, and it's awesome to be here with you guys. And these wonderful gentlemen are joining me yet again. Here we are to my left right here, the master of mischief himself, Stone_Loki. How are you, brother? What's going on?
I'm doing great. Afternoon, everybody. So good to see everybody here. I'm doing great. Can't wait to talk about Dark City.
Yeah, Dark City, man. What a cult classic indeed. It's a first-time watch for the gentleman down below here. Ironcaster, brother, so awesome. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, we are doing fantastic.
It is. It's a great film. It's going to be a fun time talking about it, and people are already rolling in here. So we'll hey to some of you folks dropping in. Claude, brother, it's so good to see you as always. And Matt making one of our shows. Awesome, brother. Oh, he's such a great. He's a member, cool dude, tons of knowledge, stuff like that. Yeah, love having him here in the house. And of course, the Pops Mod. He is the GOAT. There, Chris Persia from the Great White North. The Pop-O-Matics, as he likes to call them. Yes, Chris Persia, bro, thank you so much for all you do. It's awesome to see you. And ZBR is hanging in from across the pond. Hey there, brother. Awesome to see you. Also from the Great White North. Oh, so awesome. Zax, thanks, brother. Awesome. Hope you're doing all right. So, yeah, Mr. Mischief. He is definitely, Loki has definitely, I don't know if Loki's even caught up on our internal Talk Hard thread. We're writing fan fiction. We've just made him a character, and we're writing our own little fan fiction, which I think we should do. I think we should actually just keep going. So I'm going to have to copy and paste it into something so I can know where we're at in our story. We'll just make something up.
I just saw that. So I just caught up with you guys right before I hopped on here. And I was
We'll have to get we'll have to get someone with like a Mako-esque voice to do the monologue of it, like it's the opening of Conan the Barbarian. Long ago in a land distant.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be good. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. We're having fun. It's the way we entertain ourselves. And, I don't know why I just started writing something. It just kind of popped in my head. I'm like, I could write. I have a love for like amalgam concepts. I don't know what there is about that. I love the idea of writing like an amalgam universe. So
it's funny you say that, Ironcaster, because I was thinking more like Barrett from Final Fantasy VII. Hey, yo, suckers, this is a story that spans the generation. Listen up. Yeah, something like that.
Well, that'd be good if I knew who the character was, and let's figure out how to introduce him. Like he's the let's see. I don't know the Final Fantasy reference. So for me, the voice, I'm like, so
it's basically Mr. T with a machine gun hand.
Okay. All right. So yeah. All right. We'll have to give him a little backstory, figure out some sort of amalgam modification to that character, and make him into something else. So. Listen, Bobby, you are not going to be disappointed with the rewatch. Thanks for hanging with us. Hopefully, if you hang with us at all, yes, I know we get into deep spoilers, but if anything, hopefully we'll tease you into wanting to watch it again. It is a cult classic indeed. So, also another great ticket. Go ahead. What are you gonna say, bro?
No, this is a movie that I felt was like severely it's severely underrated that I feel more people should ultimately see. And unfortunately, it's just one that until like just recently, I don't think I had ever heard of this, so it just totally slipped under my radar.
You're not the only one that maybe think this. And look, maybe we should talk offline. I'd love to have you on. We should put together a list of like the 20 most unrated films of all time or something. Come up with some list, because this is definitely one of the most underrated sci-fi films, but I think it's bigger than that. It's like one of the most underrated films of all time. Like, it's just, I can't believe it's just not a bigger deal. Well, we'll get to why it's not, but it's just, I think we should do a list like that. Am I right?
Well, you know, we were talking, I think we had a phone call at some point from last week where we were talking about The Matrix, how similar this movie is to The Matrix. Mm-hmm. They even used some of the sets a year later, because this was filmed at the exact same studio. So this was filmed at Fox Studios in Sydney. The Matrix was filmed at Fox Studio in Sydney, and even used some of the set pieces from Dark City when they made it.
Yeah, I want to get to some of that backstory, because it's really important to do, because I know that Alex Proyas is kind of like, he's talked very openly about how obviously the box office flop. But he goes, over the years, I get asked more and more about this, and he's explained how that one of the producers showed this to the Matrix people, because this film was actually filmed in '96. It was supposed to come out in '97. Actually, the copyright in most of the cuts still say '97. So I'm not saying it's stolen. He never said it was stolen, but it's very, very clear that there's a major overlaps and massive elements of Dark City in Matrix. So. Shelby Loves is also here. Hey there, lady. Hope you're doing well. And by the way, Shelby is one of my guests on an upcoming Comic Talk. So make sure you're catching our Wednesday morning 10:15 premieres of Comic Talk. I do kick off my comic book Wednesdays that way. This week will be Why Is It Great with James Mealy. We pick comic books, tell you why they're awesome. So Billy Go Boom is in the house. Awesome to have you, my friend. Great to see you. Doing well, I hope. Yeah, this is definitely something you need to revisit, man. It's definitely a revisit. Jacob Ironside is here as well, another great creator. Also doing well. I'm going to be on with Jacob talking about Jurassic Park. It's an anniversary of Jurassic Park, guys. 30 freaking years. I feel that hit me deep, man. I thought it was that old. Oscar Garcia says this movie is awesome. Yeah, I remember getting on my video store, watching it nonstop until the return date, taking out it again. Yeah, this was an incredible film. I remember seeing it in the theater. It was just like, what on earth? This is a freaking amazing film. So, yeah, we'll get back to some more comments here in a second. So, yeah, the film comes out back in the day, and up until really the last few years, films that came out like in January and February were like the dumping ground of movies that the studios don't have any faith in. They think they're crap, they're garbage. They don't spend any money on marketing, whatever. The main reason Dark City landed there is because the test screenings for this was just a mess. Like, no one got this film. The original cut, the director's cut, doesn't have any of that narration in the opening. So they just didn't get it. It just didn't work. So they recut the film. We got our final version, and it's a complete box office disaster. Then, of course, history knows. You know, a year later, Matrix comes out. It's obviously more pop culture-y. It's more like, you know, popcorn flick audience, you know, can really get into just the guns and the firing and all that kind of stuff. Whereas this is definitely a lot more intellectual sci-fi and that kind of thing. So
I know Kung Fu.
They asked everybody too. That was the big thing. What is the Matrix? You have to go to theaters this summer to find out what is the Matrix. They had this whole thing where they were like almost daring people to go and see this movie and figure it out. So everybody was kind of like, what the hell is the Matrix? And what is going on here? Why are they able to do all this shit in this movie? And it was a question. It was a good figure it out. And some people, they still don't know what the hell the Matrix is. They still don't understand it.
Yeah, the marketing was just genius. And then compare that to Dark City, where it was just this generic, weird trailer, not a lot of information, very confusing. They showcase Kiefer Sutherland a lot because he's a big name at the time. They're just showing it's just this weird sci-fi thing. And I got to be honest, I did a rewatch, and then I watched the trailer because I wanted to. I thought to myself, how will I explain some of the marketing? I watched the trailer. Now, it may not be. There may have been multiple trailers. I didn't dive deep, but the one thing that struck me was it reminds me very much of how I felt when I looked at it the same way as I did Blade Runner. Like Blade Runner just didn't land, right? And I feel like so many times the marketing and all of that just kind of factors into it. And you just didn't capture anybody. Like I said, February is a dumping ground. Like nobody considered good movies landing in February. That was just kind of a rule of the road. So
it's
but here we are.
interesting. It's interesting that you say that because of the cut in the opening scene where they cut out basically them talking, the over talking, and how in 2008 when they did the director's cut, that was it. It was gone, and it's like, wow, that's kind of like Blade Runner. He got rid of the monologue.
Yeah, he treated it. He thought audiences are smart enough to get this. Audiences are smart, and plus the film clearly. I mean, there was no like gray area of are we dealing with extraterrestrials or not? Are we dealing with like invasion of the body snatchers or not? It's like the film very clearly lays everything out for you. So even if you're a little bit behind what's happening, you easily can pick it up. So his director's cut went back to the fact that, you know, we don't need the narration. The narration was totally studio contrivance. He's been very clear about that. I obviously am a big fan of Alex Proyas's work, especially this and The Crow. So we'll get to Matt's comment because he says he's talking about the first time he watched this film, which again, it takes me back to. I thought it was okay, not very memorable. Then I watched it 2 or 3 years later and I was like, wait, this is an all-time classic. So coming out of the theater, I kind of felt the same way, Matt, because my friends were like, well, what was it about? And I was like, well, and I tried to do a pretty crappy job as, you know, probably a 19-year-old kid. This was 98. So it'd be an 18-year-old kid explaining this probably over my head. So I said, I'll tell you what, we'll go see it together. And then as each time I kept watching it, I think I saw it about 3 times in the theater. I loved it. I was just like, oh, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. And I remember the third time because a whole bunch of us went to go. We snuck in to see it because it was at one of those theaters. Back then, you sneak into multiple movies. Here's the thing you did. We were too young to drink. So, you know, that's what we did. We're nerds. Shelby has a comment here. So we talked about this movie during our talk with the Mr. X comic. Yeah. So yeah, spoiler alert, when we do our comic talk, we're going to talk about Dark City because this Mr. X comic is key to some of the influences of Dark City as well. Mucky Jeebus is in the house. And yeah, so okay, Ironcastle, this was your first viewing of Dark City. Do you want to save your takeaways or do you want to hit on something now that you don't really want to hold back?
Actually, I find this one to be a really interesting movie because it sort of plays with some elements of like just what kind of come to mind was like I was getting a little bit of that Tim Burton vibe with the way he had set up the Gotham City with Batman. Just like everything is rooftops and steam emitting vents everywhere. It has so much character. This film was dripping that I kind of loved it.
Interesting you say that because he didn't want the Gotham feel. He wanted the Crow feel. I know that sounds like they're very similar, but they're not. The view of the Batman is sorry, I can't use that phrase anymore because now there's a film called that. Sorry. The view of Batman 89 is that it's a very cinematic feel of Gotham. Like it's a very cinematic look. Whereas Crow and Dark City, that's why he used only sets. It's very contrived rooftops and things like that. And again, this is why the Matrix stole rooftop sets because they wanted to use that sort of like grounded feel and not something, I don't want to say modified, but a cinematic look. But all three of them have such a ambiance that suck you in. I think it's amazing. I don't know. What about you, Loki? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ironcaster.
Oh, I was gonna say I did totally get that vibe of The Crow while watching it, and I didn't even realize that going into it. It was the same director.
Yeah.
So that one kind of threw me for a loop when I did find out.
And he did a great job in The Crow. You want to talk about feeling like you're in the Motor City, and that's what T-Bird says in the beginning of the menu. Which one of you Motor City MFers want to bet that this gun isn't not loaded? It doesn't matter whether you're looking at the models, because they had models of the city. They had a big model of the city that they did these cool like panorama shots of. Everything was on a set. There wasn't anything filmed outside. So you get that you get that feeling like, well, you're there, but you're not really there. Same thing with this. It's the exact same thing. You feel like you're in the city. You feel like, well, this, I remember something about this, whether it's feeling like you're in Gotham, whether it's feeling like you're in The Crow, feeling like you're in the city in The Matrix, which is never named. You just
Blade Runner,
feel
Blade
like
Runner
you're
as
there.
well,
Blade
right?
Runner. Yeah. You feel
These
like you're
immersive
there.
environments. Yeah. Matt's saying that I think the movie's better when you're not in a room full of people being loud, doing distracting things. So on. Now listen, Matt, you need to go to more movies with Loki and I. I'm not going to speak for Ironcaster, but I can guarantee I know Loki well enough that he's like I am. We have no problem telling people knock it off.
Oh yeah, shut the hell up.
I will have Mrs. Pops tell you the story of how I almost got into a fight, literally in the middle of a theater with a bunch of teenagers who were not. And it was really an ugly scene. And she loves to hear that story of how non-Christian I was back in the day. I'm like, woo, yeah, I'm a different person now, but yeah, I don't handle tolerance. I've shushed many of people like, no, we are in a movie. Don't you have etiquette? Go see a kid's movie. You're not in here. So, Brahma Bull, hey brother, says I believe part of this set was reused from Matrix. It's not even a believe, man. There's a lot of. See, we can't say theft. We can't. Yeah,
reuse, recycled stuff, and Hollywood does that.
Yeah,
and it was that they actually sold the set to them.
That's correct. But it's like they screened the film, and like I said, there's some dude I met one time who's like, I thought Dark City was like the lead into the Matrix. I'm like, yeah, I know, because it's like, yeah. But again, there's other stuff. The Matrix is literally a hodgepodge of thievery to some people. Are like, we can talk about a comic book called The Invisibles. There's tons of stuff like that. So. And listen to Daryl the Derelict, my brother. Hopefully you're doing well out there. It's a great. Oh man, I love Daryl so much. So, and yeah, Billy's going a little deep here. Says I was 18 when it dropped, so we're the same age, Billy. You and I are brothers. Yeah. First time I had seen it, I didn't appreciate it for what it was. Watched it a few years later with roommates. Loved it. Yeah, I think I had to really. It's Dark City in some way. Go ahead, Lucky.
I had to really think about this. I had never watched this movie sober. So up until a couple of days ago, I had never seen this movie without the little smoking of the smoky stuff. So this was the first time watching it sober, and I loved it just as much as I loved it then. So I think I was a little more analytical in my questioning then. Like, whoa, man, like, what is he doing? Oh man, like, oh, he's on like a thing. Holy crap, man.
Whoa, the bar's just melted.
Yeah. Oh, dude, my brain's melting 5 different ways right now because of the discovery I just made in this movie. I'm going to go and I'm going to write a thesis, man, on the whole thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The high Loki theses. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Matt's saying that this is the 90s, especially the end of the 90s, by the way, dark, dystopian films. 13 Floors is another one. That would be something that's a lot of people are not aware of. Kind of an odd film. The 13th Floor. Obviously, The Matrix comes out after. Memento comes right after that, which is I think 2000 actually. But yeah, this era definitely was part of that. Things come in cycles and waves, and that's definitely part of it. So let's see. That would be The Devil's Lettuce, Loki.
Yes. Yeah. The Devil's Lettuce. Daryl got it. Thank you. Greetings, program.
Okay. So, all right, we'll start at the beginning, especially with Ironcaster. This is the first time watch through. So let's take the first chunk of the film, which is basically that introduction phase where you have John wakes up, there's blood on his face, dead chick, doesn't know where he is, doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't even quite know which clothes are supposed to be his or not. I think, again, it's like Memento. It's like we get all of these sort of like, where am I? What is going on? Disorientation. I think that immediately, again, this is the beauty of filming with real stuff and not filming in the volume. Even just the shot that you have right there, Ironcaster, look at like the dirty, grungy green tile and just the bad lighting, everything like this. You feel like you have been in one of these places, know a place. You feel like you kind of know the feel of this as like a genre. You kind of understand this, like this place, and you're there right away.
I'm
Again,
waiting for a puppet to roll out on a tricycle telling me he wants to play a game.
Well, I'm kind of going with like, what is the initial response that you have, not knowing what has Pops and Loki gotten you into with this film? Because it's obviously completely different than the last things we've gotten you into.
I mean, it's a great set for starting out because you feel like you know this place even if you've never been here. Like you can just practically feel the walls crawl just by looking at this place.
That's
so it's like, okay, we're starting in a really shady place with a character who is just as in the dark as the rest of us.
And he's got clues that we're trying to figure out with the character as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's like the mystery of, well, what's what he has all the monogram stuff that's like the same letters. JM.
Well, yeah, and the suitcase has KH, which is a clue that he kind of unravels later on. Those kinds of things, it's like even just like the fact that there is this, prostitute that's been murdered is a clue in and of itself. Like, what on earth's happening? What's going on? These kinds of things. So, look, you talk about that first little act before we even kind of get into like what actually is going on, because even the hotel person and all of this, we just feel like just is really interesting. And I guess it's a little bit of that noir feel, right? Because it's just that kind of immersive environment to get in.
In fact, there's you bring up noir, which is really important here. So there was an NES game back in the day it was one of the very first NES games I've ever got. It's called Deja Vu, and it is a very noir-like game where you wake up in a bathroom and you have no idea who the hell you are, what you're doing. You have to piece all these things together and figure out. It's a very it's a very early point and click adventure. And this movie starts out almost exactly the same way. You have no idea who this guy is, why he wakes up the way he does, what is going to happen. It's a very noir feeling. It's very dark. Every little choice they made here is important to what is going on. And you're immediately thinking, well, why is it called Dark City? Well, the city's always dark. Well, why is it always dark? You're going to figure that out.
Yeah, every little element is one of those things, like, especially as you rewatch the film, and everybody said this in chat, and I can't echo it enough. Like when you watch this film, maybe you don't quite get it, or you haven't watched it in a long time. I'm telling you, excuse me, as you go back through, and you're going to pick up details about the clock, you're going to pick up details about why it's dark, you're going to figure out details about the strangers, you're going to figure out details. So it is a beautiful film when you start to realize. It's kind of like again, I'm going to liken it to these other films too, to make sure that, because if you like these films, you're going to like this one. That is, maybe is immersed in the first viewing of Blade Runner, and then once you go back and you're really appreciating the environment and the secondary characters and those kinds of things, this is exactly the same thing. And even more interesting, I don't know, you guys both speak to this, because the cast, other than like Rufus Sewell and Jennifer Connelly, William Hurt, then you have this other cast of all the strangers and stuff who are basically like people that you don't really know. So it is almost like unsettling in some ways. Like, I know who the main human here are, but when it comes to the strangers and all of the other elements, I don't know who anybody is. So and Rufus Sewell was a complete no-name back then, by the way. He's at least made a lot of films now, but most normies aren't going to even know who he is. Do you kind of feel a little bit of that way, or am I just reading way too much into the artsy part of it? It's just me being a nerd. I don't know.
I mean, I think in a way that even kind of lends itself into the sort of theme of the movie, this kind of playing with all these unknowns, the memories, uncertainty to all that. That in a way it's very on point.
Okay. Matt's saying that this also happened at the beginning of the Kiefer phase, the peak Kiefer, when he was just really about to be in demand for years. Yeah, this was the lead in. I think it's you've got this era where all these kinds of things start happening with Flatliners and Young Guns and these kinds of movies. So he become this massive, and he was already a massive face, like when you go back to some of his earlier work. So when you see that, if you were to watch the trailer again, you're going to see he's purposely showcased so that he can be part of the marketing, part of the lore. But again, everything kind of got all out of whack with how they wanted to market it. So I couldn't agree more with that assessment, Matt. It's good. Project Cambian's here. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing all right. And Zach is saying that Dark City was great. Seems like we were starving for stories like this at the time. Yeah, there is something that because post Matrix, it makes more sense when we would have films like this. But this is the lead up to the Matrix, so it is interesting to see what you're saying there, brother. Yeah, it really is. So, and again, remember this is filmed, after Flash. I got my timeline a little wrong because he's already done Flatliners, A Few Good Men, things of that nature. So this is actually a little bit after that. This is him leading into kind of probably the downside of that big boom that he had. He was already kind of a big name. So,
and this was, considered a failure. This film was considered a failure.
A disaster.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's by far it was a financial disaster. It only earned, let's see, I got the numbers here for you. So, the box office total combined worldwide was 27 million. And you're talking probably after what piddly marketing they did, probably about a $40 million budget, $30 to $40 million is what they spent. So it didn't make its money. It lost money. And whatever money they think they lost significantly more than that. So it was a financial disaster for them. And the studios don't care about cult. They don't really care. Maybe they can sell some DVDs, the Blu-rays, 4Ks, whatever, the director's cut, those kinds of things. But that they don't focus on that. So again, they didn't get it. Studio people are dumb. Sorry, guys. Just be honest. You guys know studio people are dumb. They didn't get this movie.
They're only going to get it if like the DVD sales start coming in.
Yeah.
And the week this came out, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was like the 11th or 12th week that Titanic was in the theater, and it was still chugging along, making $20-30 million a week at that point. So no one was talking about this. Everybody was talking about Titanic at the time.
Okay. I thought Titanic was after this. So that's even crazier to think that it's kind of like the overlap. That's nuts. Yeah, I'm pulling it up now to see where it is
instead.
I'm pretty sure it was like 12th or
you're right.
13th week.
Well, and like Good Will Hunting was still out. Wedding Singer was still out. I mean, that sounds like crazy. The Wedding Singer had just dropped. So it's third week of Wedding Singer. So this opened number 4 with $5 million. And so as good as it gets was still rolling along. I know this sounds like names that you're like, people out there are like, I don't care about any of these things. These are the big name movies of the time. Titanic made 19. So it made 4 times the amount of money that this movie made. So talk about box office failure. This was the embodiment of that for years. So, Bobby's bringing up The 13th Floor. Yeah, I kind of have that earmarked to rewatch that. I can't even tell you when I've watched that movie. That movie, I have not watched that since college. So I'm going to do a rewatch of that. Maybe I can figure out either do a review of my own or slot it for something like this. It'd be kind of fun. So, Alex Proyas has done like 6 films. This was his second or third movie. It was his best of the films I recall: Crow, Dark City, I, Robot, and Gods of Egypt. Yeah, Alex Proyas is like music video guru. He's done a lot of other stuff like separate from all this. And by the way, his YouTube channel, if you just look up his YouTube channel, dude loves to just experiment with stuff. He just seems like a really like a cool filmmaker kind of guy. Interesting. So, and he's got this video, which I think Loki would approve of, Make Your Darn Movie.
Yeah. Make Your Darn Movie.
It's like Make Your Darn Movie. It's like, it's really freaking great little video. It's like 6 minutes of him like, what are you waiting for? It's awesome.
Get off your ass and do it. Quit talking about it. Quit thinking about it. Get off your butt and make your movie.
Yeah. What do you want? Make it with a phone. Do this. You can't shoot on weekdays. Shoot on weekends. What are you waiting for? Make your darn movie. It's such a low-key video. It just made me laugh. I watched it today. I was like, oh, look at that. Freaking great. Look at that. It's awesome. So Project Cambian's talking about his love for Dark City as well. I watched it again last year. Still holds up. I remember being kind of blip on the radar screen back then. It was worse than a blip, bro. It was like nobody. I had to drag friends to go see it. They didn't want to go see it. So, all right, Ironcaster, take us through like the next phase, because this is what. So the strangers show up. This is Jennifer Connelly at the bar. It's his wife.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, he's piecing things together, and he has this big confrontation scene. And I will admit, during the rewatch that I had, when I rewatched it today, the pacing of the film, so I'm trying to pay a little more attention to the pacing of the film, is a lot of noir films like this don't get to an action sequence. They don't get to some sort of fight. Now, this isn't like an action sequence or a chase. but they're going to have a fight on the scaffolding there. And you're like, what they did was they reveal a lot of the elements that we, the audience, needs to know. Because we're learning, like you said, Ironcaster, we're learning with John. So we're learning who are these people? What are they capable of? What is this thing called tuning? He's experiencing things, even if he doesn't understand them. At least we're getting further into the intrigue. Like what Loki was saying earlier, like they're laying all this stuff out that you want to know more. You're in the journey with the character.
Yeah, there are these. There's it's like a whole group of like similarly looking bald albinos who show up that. They seem to be wearing leftover suits from the '84 David Lynch Dune.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if they reused those. Would you, Loki? Would you be surprised if those were Dune costumes?
Absolutely not. No, I would not be surprised if they, if you heard a big fat guy go bang. Oh crap!
My plan.
It's one of the reject.
Squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. Oh my god, not him.
That's right.
Like they were all showing up for a Cenobite convention.
Yeah. But I will say I love the fact that he comes up with a clever way. Like, so he has this little fight scene or whatever, but it's the hand on the clock that breaks. It comes around and lashes the head off the dude, like lashes his head in half. So I love it. It's just creative. It's interesting. It tells us information, and we're just even deeper on this journey with John, where he's trying to figure out different images that he has in his head, different little clues, things like that. And then I think that's kind of where we're left off. I think then we get into a little bit of William Hurt and what his little story is. And it's interesting because they said William Hurt understood the script as good, if not better, than he did. These actors were really all in on understanding what was going on, which I think is really fascinating when you compare it to people now who can't even tell you what the movie's about. I can't imagine having William Hurt explaining to me Dark City. That'd be a cool interview right there. All right, Loki. Ironcatcher, tell us where we're at. What's going on?
See, this was the wife is a lounge singer, I believe it was.
Yeah, Emma's a singer. Mm-hmm.
Well, for now.
Yep. Well, right. Yeah, well, it's explained in the story. Yeah. So she's a singer. John's piecing it together. He saw a photo of her, so he knows that he's married to her. He has a key, so he's tracking down. He's piecing together all the different things that are going on. So, Project Hater brings up the fact that Kiefer Sutherland, in addition to Flatliners, there's also Jacob's Ladder, which was Tim Robbins, very 90s grunge and cinema. Yeah, that's a little bit. I can see that overlap. That'd be a what. So, Matt is also saying students have a habit as much stuff in terms of costumes and props they can reasonably store and reuse. Yeah, worked in a prop shop for a while, guys. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool fun to see, like, what do you need? And it's like just boxes of just stuff. It's like walking into like a weird sort of like Goodwill approach. It's like there's just stuff everywhere. And the more weird it is, the more likely it's going to be in there. It was really kind of fun. Last Starfighter jump shoots and Starship Trooper helmets and armor basically are reused. Yeah, I've heard that about Starship Troopers especially. Yeah,
I've seen those things pop up in like Power Rangers.
That makes sense. Yeah. Kiefer Sutherland's lab. Talk about set design and fun, interesting things. As I rewatched this, I was like, man, this was cool. I had a good time with this. I enjoyed rewatching this today, trying to pay more attention to like some of the technical aspects and not just to the entertainment aspects of it all. And his little quirky eye, I don't understand if he had to wear like a little prosthetic or how they did his little eye, because one eye is totally off, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they stuck some.
Go ahead.
Oh, it was like they got some sort of like makeup gum they just kind of put over the eye. I wonder if I can find let me see if I can find a picture of this.
Okay. Yeah. And then there is also quite interesting, like the metaphor for anyone watching it later on is obviously they are quite on point of putting the rat in the maze. It is quite obvious that the humans are in an experiment when they literally are telling you, yeah, you're a rat in a maze. And it is funny, Loki, how much we don't pick up on how on the nose they're telling us everything. Like it is really clear what they're telling us.
No, it is. It is. It's almost like the Matrix. Once you kind of know what's going on, you know what's going on. You know what to expect, and you can put the puzzle pieces together and see how it all fits. That's the thing. It's getting to that point of, okay, I can put all the puzzle pieces together and see how this all fits out. Until then, you kind of got to wonder, am I being led down a rabbit hole that's not going to make sense at the end? Because nothing pisses you off more than at the end of a movie, you're going, why was this made? And what was the point of it all?
Yeah, I can't agree more. I hate the fact that you have all this stuff that'll happen in a film and there's no payoff. There's just no. I say this all the time when I'm doing reviews of shows and things like that. I guess it doesn't matter. And this is like my big joke from Kenobi. It's like they have this big emotional moment with this character that was introduced like 2 seconds ago. He's killed with a box of trash. And there's a big mourning moment for Wade. And I'm like, who the hell is Wade? So I have this joke. I want to make a shirt called R.I.P. Wade. It's like hashtag RIP Wade. Like, why the hell am I supposed to care about Wade? Like, I don't even know who this person is. He wasn't here like 2 seconds ago. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And they just did it again in Last of Us. I don't know. Everyone out there watching Last of Us, when they did it with Brian, they killed Brian. I don't even know or care anything about freaking Brian. Like, I don't hashtag RIP Brian, I guess. Like, I just think this is so stupid. But a movie like this, it's like, oh my gosh, it was so immersive that I was like taking notes on like mental notes of like which one is Mr. Book and which one is Mr. This, Mr. I was like, whoa, this is really cool. So
speaking of the misters, I had this thing when I was a kid. I could always tell you when I saw someone what they were in before. And Mr. Wall is played by a guy named Bruce Spence. Bruce Spence is the gyrocopter man from the Road Warrior and
Max, right? Yeah.
Mad Max.
Yeah.
So he's the gyrocopter man. You catch little things like that in this that, you know, some people just don't care about. And, you know, you'll see somebody and be like, oh my God, I know him. Oh, I know him. Oh, no. The casting in this was pretty dang good. Not just, oh, well, Kiefer Sutherland leads the show, but other people that you can appreciate. Seeing Jennifer Connelly in a movie again is like, yeah, I really liked her back in the day.
Would you guys like to see which one of the strangers was my favorite? We of course had Mr. Hat, Mr. Hand.
It's the little
Mr.
girl
Book.
thing, right? That's your favorite because she was freaking creepy as all get out.
Oh, my favorite is Mr. Hat.
Oh, jeez Louise.
Mr. Hat.
I walked right into this Dark City jokes. At least it's not a freaking Nick Cage Dark City character. That's what I was really
God
worried about in the
help
back of
us.
my head. I know.
Oh, give me time.
Oh, by the way, I'm with you, Loki, a little bit. I actually had to look it up because one of them, make sure I got the name right, Mr. Book. Mr. Book was also in a movie called Brazil. So we'll talk about another movie that's sort of like a precursor to, you know, the 1984 type film, dark and gritty and just totally strange and that kind of thing. So let's take a pause real quick because Zach is bringing up something that's very important, and you know, because we really need to make sure that we're doing this for one another. 24/7's kind of put out sort of like a need situation there. There's a link there in chat for the GoFundMe. Times are tough, things are difficult, so our brother needs some help, that kind of thing. So if you can reach out to him and help him in any way, please consider it. 24 is a freaking great dude, and we care about him a lot. So yeah, thanks, Zach, for sharing all that, giving us up to date on what's going on with that, man. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you, guys. Everybody that's been shouting that out, thank you so very much, guys. You guys are. Yeah. He is absolutely beside himself, the support that this community has shown. So I got a chance to talk to him last night. We're setting up an appointment so he can get some financial assistance from the state, so he can get some food easier than he's already getting it. He just wants to make it, guys. He wants to make it. And he wants to stand on his own 2 feet. And this was really hard for him to see. So I really appreciate the shout outs and the support everybody's been showing. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate your help, Zach. Thanks for doing that and including that in there. And yeah, Zach, I know. R.I.P. Brian. I know. It was like another one of those moments where just what? Yeah. So Um, let's see. So this is he's Matt's keeping us to date here on this Mad Max reference with Road Warrior and no Spence are different characters. Spence played many other roles as well, including the Train Man in Matrix 2 or the Mouth of Sauron. Okay. Then he also says, let's see here, Zed in the Legend of the Seeker TV show. Wow, cool. I love the strangers have such a cool, unique look about them. Like they're just these odd, strange dudes. I think the casting is freaking great. It's just awesome. So, I love how, in some ways, I think it's brilliant to let the audience in on what's going on. Because I'm not sure. I think we get ahead of John quickly, right? So once the strangers go back into their. By the way, I wish I had seen Ironcaster's face when they went underground into where they live, and you saw basically like the dark version of Metropolis. So you've been talking about Metropolis every day since Public Domain dropped. So I was like, the strangers live in dark Metropolis. And suddenly it's like now we, the audience, have more information than John does because we understand there's an experiment going on. We understand kind of how they're manipulating things with the tuning. We clearly are shown like what happens at midnight. We see them interacting and moving around. We see how many of them there are because basically, there's 4 and then suddenly there's all of this and you're like, holy crap, this is freaking cool as hell. I'll get out. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, this is amazing. Yeah. Like a council of festers. Good job, Prince. That's
geez.
That's freaking great. That should be a shirt. The Council of Festers. That's great. Yes. The Fringe copied the last 2. Oh, okay, cool. I don't know that I ever got. I've watched a lot of Fringe, but not even in order. I don't even know. That's one of those shows I got to start over or something. I don't want to do with that show.
I have never seen it.
It's not bad. It's like Fringe and Warehouse 13 are interesting shows. I'm not going to say they're great or anything like that, but they're just like, they're kind of fun and they're okay. And
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Okay. So when you were going through this journey, Ironcaster, I mean, how Metropolis-y did this feel, boy? I wish I could see in your face.
Oh, I had those little hairs in the back of my neck just kind of sitting up. I was getting the tingles. I'm like, ooh.
Dark Metropolis. Yes.
I like it.
Loki, does it creep you out as much as it creeps me out to see the scene where they're like going around to like they get to midnight and the people go face first into their porridge and then suddenly they're like the strangers show up, they're dressing them, they're changing the room. Like that scene really kind of creepy, man. I didn't like that scene.
Oh, it does. No,
not like that at all. I was like, nope, don't like this at all.
Didn't like it then, don't like it now. It's got that alien abduction vibe. You get that alien abduction vibe. No one wants to be probed at midnight. So yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. And they're getting like they're getting upgrades from like the slum to like, the mansion. But I'm like, dude walks in with like their clothes and stuff. And that's what it was for me. I'm like, whoa. Wait a minute. Now, fortunately, we didn't have anything awkward happening, but it felt awkward. Enough happens off camera that was probably worse than what they could have shown me. That's why I've explained it.
But I mean, the neat part about it was as they're coming in and they're shaping all this, they're quite literally changing the world around them. The table is extending. The candles are kind of getting built from the nothingness of the table, of the growing table. And lighting up. The little apartment they were in is suddenly expanding out into a big old mansion. And like as they're here, they're getting all these new memories implanted in them. So like the life they were living before is gone, and they're just, for all intents and purposes, now these new people, and they are none the wiser.
And all of the effects of that is obviously an inspiration. Christopher Nolan has been very clear that it was very much inspired Inception, which we of course know was a kind of ripped off a lot with the way Doctor Strange was made, those kinds of things. So it all goes back to here, folks. Mid-90s. Can you believe it? Mid-90s effects. Pretty cool. Chris Burgess is explaining that Warehouse 13 and Eureka were sister shows. I don't think I've ever watched Eureka. Fringe is possibly the best mystery box show like X-Files or Lost. Yeah, okay. it definitely is an interesting mystery box show. I agree with that. So.
Well, I mean, the only downside these days to watching Eureka is the fact that like Will Wheaton shows up as like a recurring character in the later seasons.
Okay. Project Cambrian. Okay, so he's explaining they didn't really get the Metropolis. So the Metropolis vibe is dark Metropolis when we go underground where the strangers are. The Labyrinth vibe I get more from just the confused nature of things in the upper wherever you have all these weird angles and stuff like that. So the changing maze, alternate roles. Yeah, but that's above ground. That's not where the strangers are. That's where the human experiment is. So, and Project Cambrian is giving some love for Eureka. Okay, Ironcaster, jump us ahead a little bit because I think it's interesting how compact the movie is. I kind of kept checking the time, and I was like, man, a lot of information happens, and you're like, what is going to go on? But again, it's only 90 minutes, so it's this beautiful film with 3 acts, clearly defined with their 30-minute mark, their hour something mark, and then you're out. And Rufus Sewell is totally underrated, man. He really kills it in this role. He's so believable as like a tortured dude.
Yeah, he's trying to, or John is trying to go and put all the pieces together to figure out what's going on, and like the only thing he really has to go on is this is this card he has of a place called Shell City, and so for him, part of the journey winds up becoming trying to find out about Shell City. Where's this place? Why do I? Maybe I can get some answers there.
So when you do a rewatch, let me ask Loki: do you rewatch like me? You're like trying to figure out the Shell City equation? Because I was sitting there trying to figure out it. I was like, I got to get on this terminal, right? This terminal, that terminal. I was looking at the map, and I was trying to like, come on, there's got to be a way to figure this out. There's got to. I was still sucked into like, oh, come on, man, there's got to be a way to figure this out. I fell for it again today, by the way.
No, you're absolutely right. You want to be a part of this. You want to be a part of the answers. You want answers, just like he wants answers. And if you look at that scene right there, that is that set is where the dump truck does a 180-degree spin in the Matrix and comes flying back at Trinity to hit her in the phone booth. There's all these little things you'll see from this set that you're like, holy crap, it's the Matrix, but it's before the Matrix, so it's not the Matrix. So the Matrix took the style and the way they did stuff and kind of incorporated it, and you can tell when you rewatch that movie, half of that movie is Dark City, the other half is their own little thing.
And that the halves of the halves or other things, like I said, I mentioned other comic books and things like that. So yeah, it's a very amalgamated film. The rooftop sets as well is also borrowed from Dark City. The trench coats, obviously a lot of that was kind of glamorized back in the day before Matrix, and it was like, oh well, we can just level this up, and they sure did. So Will Wheaton's portraying himself in Eureka. I'll have to watch that someday. It's funny. I'm not sure I can handle it now, but Soul plays a great baddie. A Knight's Tale. He was so good. Yeah, no, he is freaking great. I really, really like him. Speaking of him being a baddie, by the way, he plays the main Yahtzee in Man of High Tower.
Yeah.
Those first
he
two
plays a
seasons
really
there.
great bad guy. He does. He plays an absolute excellent villain. And Knight's Tale, he's so just like, he is so up his own tail in that movie.
Menacing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Ulrich, when he's sitting there looking at the winds, Ulrich. Yeah, it's perfect. Absolutely. Now you got me wanting to watch Knight's Tale, damn it.
I know, me too.
I'm one of the few people I know that like that movie.
Oh, I love the movie. And I told people, I said, well, yeah, especially because of the music. You got AC/DC and whatever. And it's like, listen, look at Heath Ledger. There's not any dirt on the dude, and he's jousting. If you're going to try to nitpick this movie, please just stop already. Like, it's so ridiculously unbelievable how clean everyone is and bathed look. It was absurd. And like, you're upset about the music. So it was so stupid. Such a stupid clapback. I hated it.
Eris had such a hard time getting in that movie, but when she did, it's like, no, you have a lot of fun. You have a lot of fun watching that movie. So
yeah, I agree. I did too. I really enjoyed it. I loved it a lot. And again, Heath Ledger was very underrated in that movie. There's like some really good emotional moments in that film. He doesn't really get credit for. So, but I think with Dark City, you have this great immersive journey through. And I know Ironcaster's going through different photos and stuff lifted out of the film, because you can really get a good feel for the world building that he did, even though he had this small budget, his very small sets that are being built, you know, the way he created like a laundromat, the automat, way he has movie theater, all these different elements that are there to kind of keep you going and keep you sucked in. The interrogation room I thought was, you know, very interesting as well, where he's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I loved it. I thought it was great. It's like, I don't know. Again, as I did a rewatch, try to devote more time to some of the technical aspects and stuff like that. Again, it's sort of like on the nose noir with these sequences, especially with William Hurt. Everything is just on the nose with him being the private detective, cop cliche, so to speak. So
he's like, it's a very interesting set with like the angled walls, the little bars on them. It stands out in its own way. It doesn't necessarily kind of blend into all the other like interrogation rooms you've seen in like 1,000 other movies.
Well, you're definitely, you know, in dark contrast to, you know, these clean, sterile rooms and bright lights and multiple detectives and all that. You're like he looks like he's being talked to in like a safe house. He's in like some remote safe house. He doesn't look like he's actually in like someone we should take seriously as like a police force or anything like that. So Princess Leia Rose is hopping in. Hey there. And she says, Happy Valentine's Day. And hey to everybody. So good on you, lady. Great to have you here as well.
Happy Valentine's
another great
Day,
news.
Leia.
Yeah. And Scott Westbrook also popping in. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing all right. Let's see here. Yeah, I think it catches up on chat and that kind of thing. So, so I think that again, we're going to keep harping. Some of these themes are really almost like softballs, because all of these elements are like teeing it up for Ironcaster to fall in love with this movie. Incredible
Absolutely.
set design, intrigue, mystery, sci-fi. Oh, just yeah. I was like, oh, Ironcaster. How could you not have seen it? I'm so happy that you have. Have you only watched it once?
Yes, I've only seen it the one time. So it's one I'm gonna have to sit down and watch again. Oh, what I'll probably want to doing is like grabbing a friend and forcing them to then turn around and sit down and watch through it with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Sounds good. Share. We have to turn people on to good things. It's part of why we're doing this. Project Cambria is basically saying that the noir style is pretty much off every frame of this movie. I couldn't agree more. It's really, really interesting how he approached this film. Moving forward a little bit, Ironcaster, on where we are in the story here, because at this point, this is where, you know, he really starts to come clean with William Hurt's character, and Bumstead is like going to follow Emma around, going to try to figure out what's going on with John, and it's almost like the mystery within the mystery, right, Loki? Where like you have the main thing that's happening with John, but then you're also watching William Hurt's character solving the riddle for himself as well. I almost feel like, are we talking to like two different audience members at the same time? The person that's caught up and the person that's a little bit behind?
Yep, I think we are. And that, guys, that's something special. And you almost have to wonder, is it the movie industry itself that failed this film? Because it's not us. There's people out there that have seen this movie that absolutely love this movie. Of course, you're gonna have some people that are like, "Well, damn, son, that don't make no sense whatsoever." But then you've got the people that should have been promoting this movie and should have gotten this movie traction, and it could have been great. Didn't matter what it was going up against; it could have been great. And it's keeping everyone up to date on what is happening in the movie. And that's not just, you don't have to do a voiceover to do that. And it's almost a sin they did that with Blade Runner, and then they turned around and did it with this. And I would have wanted it gone too. I don't want that in there. I never wanted that in there to begin with. I got told I needed to have that in there by some executives who didn't know their assholes from their elbows. Sorry for the a-hole drop. I'm just saying.
You got it, man. We're good.
you start feeling this like, was this sabotaged intentionally? Because it's not, it doesn't quite hold your hand, but it is taking you along the way on a journey. And it's an absolutely stunning journey. And I would argue, usually argue with Ebert on Ebert's takes and stuff, but he hits the nail on the head with this movie. This is a how you make a movie and how you make a great movie. And it didn't have anything there to help people get into the idea. You need to go see this movie. You have to go see this movie. It's a great movie. You got to go see it. And there was just nothing out there telling anyone that they should go see it. Especially a year before The Matrix sweeps everything out. I would have been so disillusioned as a director going, look at all this stuff you took from me. Look at the sets, look at the ideas. And the Wachowski brothers strike it rich. They strike gold, digging where Alex was there. He was there, and he put all the work in. And the Wachowskis just kind of picked up the ball and said, "Oh, we'll take it from here. We'll take it to the gold from here. We got it."
I think it's ultimately a movie that is really more for cinema lovers, not just your everyday kind of normie in terms of going to the movies. And I'd say that's kind of what the box office ultimately reflected.
Project Cambria, he's kind of also throwing in the same kind of message where we said, I don't think it even had studio back. And we definitely did not. I don't think it would have been a blockbuster. How dark and strange it was didn't have wider appeal. Among so much dark, gritty grunge at the time, it didn't totally stand out. Well, so Project Cambrian, just to make sure because I mean, again, I'm that much of a history film nerd here, that they saw the screening, hated it, made him recut everything, add all this narration, still didn't like it. Test screens didn't go well. They dump it in February with no marketing budget whatsoever. And in the meantime, they sold off all sorts of elements to it, which included the sets that we've been talking about, obviously some costume elements, things of that kind of thing. So Matrix could be, the Warner Brother people could come in and buy all that crap and whatever. They get their money back that way as well. So sometimes the studios they're just lug nuts, man. They just don't get it. It's just not clicking. And this movie just kind of fell through the cracks for a lot of reasons. So I think that Matt is probably a lot sooner. Like if it had been out just a little bit earlier or later, I don't know about earlier, but I think later. I think after The Matrix, it would have seemed like a knockoff of The Matrix is the problem. So there's really no good feel for this. Alex was just ahead of his time. He's all there is to it. He just was ahead.
And would you even have it? Would you even have The Matrix without this movie? The Matrix as it was. I don't think you would. I don't think you would. Look at the first half of the Matrix, and even some elements in the later part of it. Especially the sets, and you've got that Dark City vibe everywhere.
Yeah, because he'd been working on some of this stuff before Dark City. So some of the frameworks, like multiple people kind of were obsessed with this concept of, reality is not reality and some of these different elements. Again, like I said, he really was ripping off Grant Morrison, the famous comic book called The Invisibles. It's not one that everybody knows much about. Obviously, it's another great one to lift from because nobody knows what it is, right? So that was one as well that came out way significantly before all this in the mid-90s. I don't exactly know when the first issue dropped or anything like that, but this is part of like the Hollywood history and lore that people don't know much about. I find it very interesting. Most people my wife thinks it's just tedious. So I enjoy spending time with you guys who at least don't, want to shut me up about it. So, Ironcaster, how are you holding up in your journey? Because a lot transpires very, very fast in this film too. Like I said, it's very compact. I mean, this is one of those films where there's not a lot of room for bathroom breaks, man. You got to make sure you're hitting pause. You don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's starting to really take its time and kind of start unpacking the bigger mysteries that the film has going on with all the spirals, and you're starting to get into these questions as the movie goes on, which is kind of ultimately about like questioning how real are the memories. It's also got this. It also has the detectives that are trying to solve this murder mystery that could just has easily been undone by the shifting around of all the memories. So it is kind of interesting how that all those little pieces do fit together. But I like more how, how it is sort of quite leads one to question the memories that they so firmly believe are real. It's like, how true can you really believe that to be? If someone were to tell you and prove to you that what you thought happened didn't actually happen, how would you handle that?
I think it's just the film suffers from the over complexity of this for most normies, whereas The Matrix is very clear. Like, people understand the concept of you're in a computer simulation versus not. Whereas something like this, because it's not so spoon fed to you, you're in a computer simulation. People are controlled through tuning, can be redone. Yeah, you can have a murder mystery, but we see the murder. We understand who did the actual murders, right? But then we reprogram the humans to watch them and learn and as an experiment, the rat in the maze, of how they will react. So I think one of the most brilliant parts, one of the brilliant callbacks, Loki, you speak to this, was when John early in the film, for no reason, says, well, I went to this prostitute to test myself to see if I was capable. And I'm not a killer. I can feel it. I can feel it in my gut. I'm not a killer. And then later, so when we know and it's verified, you're like, oh crap, man, this is deep. And this is what he's trying to get at of, they're trying to study the brain and the intellect and memories and all that. But what John was saying all along is the crux of human nature. It's so much more than just a bunch of wiring and processing. I don't know if there's a question in there or not, but I threw all that out there.
No, I agree with you. I do.
Yeah, this is that gobbledygook where I have problems with. I'm sorry if I'm going to upset half the chat, or even you guys, as evolutionary extremists who want to say, it's like there's nothing, you can't ever be anything or whatever. I'm like, well, there's a whole lot of elements to human nature that we really, really don't know anything about, with our human consciousness and how reasoning works. And, some of the different, we understand how brain wiring like fires, and sure, we understand certain senses and parts of the brain and that kind of thing, but there's so much more that goes into human nature. And this film, I thought, was just beautifully challenging to some of those kinds of thought processes, stuff like that, some of the intellectual stuff. I just thought it was really great. And I really, like I said, I wish I had a camera in the room so I could see Ironcaster's face as some of the stuff was unpacking, because he'll do it in real life, folks. When his camera's on, you'll see him turn his head, and it's Ironcaster unpacking things. And this movie would have done that a lot. Am I right, brother?
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is a movie that you can't just like sit with your phone out and fiddling on. This is like one that deserves your attention, undivided.
Oh, please tell me you don't do that.
Oh, no, like only if it's something dumb like Armageddon.
That's funny he mentions an Armageddon.
His Armageddon reference again. He's been killing me with his Armageddon references. So, by the way, you tell your story why you're hung up on Armageddon.
I don't like disaster movies. I don't want to like watch like, oh no, there's a volcano exploding. How the whole movie's about how are we going to escape this volcano? Like,
he would have hated that year, dude. You would have hated that year because everyone was getting married to that Aerosmith song, and it was like everybody wanted to be the Ben Affleck and yeah, dude. All of that was like everybody was getting married to that. Everybody was dancing to that. It was like you couldn't get away with it. I mean, I like some Aerosmith songs, but God, kill me when that's all that they were doing. That's all they were doing. But
yeah, it was just terrible. It was just, so the irony was you also had
present
deep
you guys,
impact, right?
I'd like to present you my face when that happens.
Well, Ironcaster was blowing us up today because he was like, I cannot believe the Saturn Award cowards wouldn't pick one, and then they tie. They did a tie where they gave a Saturn Award to Armageddon and this movie. He goes, he was just so hung up on that today. It was just, I actually was kind of laughing because I was like, oh, I've been there, man. Things like these award things. Oh, that was his face all day today when he kept thinking about it. It's okay, man. We're getting ready to come up on the anniversary of one of the worst moments in all of film history. I wish we could see Loki's face right now. Are you guys ready? I'm a child, and I stayed up late in 1978 just to find out the Oscar goes to Annie Hall and not Star Wars. A film that was in theaters. I mean, we're talking about like in an area with there are lines outside for months to see, and some film with the little nerdy guy in glasses wins, and I'm like, what's happening? I don't understand. That was my first experience with award shows. So let me go to ZBR with a $2 super sticker. That's some British pounds, baby. That money will spend. Look at that, baby. Shiba Inu throwing out some farts. We appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much, man. Helping us keep the lights on. Appreciate you, brother, so much.
I gotta say though that Armageddon gave us Michael Clark Duncan. At least that's the first movie I can remember seeing Michael Clark Duncan on.
Oh, you know,
And,
yeah.
I
don't
was
know what
like,
first
dude,
movie
I
was.
like this guy.
Oh.
I really like this guy. So I don't think I saw him in anything before that, but I can't be like 99% sure. I'll check IMDb.
I'm
It's the
checking
first
real
thing
quick, too,
I
as well,
remember.
trying to figure out
Is
Friday, Bullworth, then Armageddon. So yeah, Green Mile.
I saw
is
Friday,
after
but
this.
I don't remember him in Friday. I know.
Yeah. Scorpion King, Daredevil, all that was later. So yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. So
Planet of
let's
the
see.
Apes.
So oh yeah, geez. So on the nose. The pacing, I think, was on purpose as we are kept uneasy and unsettled just as Rufus is. As soon as they're about to settle, the rug gets pulled out and now start over. Yeah. So again, the film, because it's trying to solve multiple mysteries and little things with what he's trying to figure out, William Hurt's trying to figure out. William Hurt's still grounded in the real world of this is a real mystery. And then when that starts to break, now you're like, okay, so the audience is kind of being kept along. And I do like the fact that there's a detective. The detective is broken, right? So similar to what happened with John's character, he wakes up in the middle of the midnight tuning. So now he understands that he's in the Matrix, for lack of the better term, right? He's in this alternate thing where everything is fake and whatever. And he kind of snaps and he ultimately decides to just jump in front of the oncoming train.
The sleeper has awakened.
What's interesting is you kind of want to ask yourself a little bit like, why would they leave him in? And you realize, oh, wait, still, it's just part of the experiment. We're nothing but just meat puppets to these things. Whatever this alien squid thing is, they don't care about us, man. We're just meat puppets. So, and Matt is throwing out the PSA. Yeah, every year, there's a song. And that year was the Aerosmith song. Yeah, Bryan Adams with the Robin Hood movie. That was awful. Oh, my gosh, it was awful. I mean, get me started on like Dirty Dancing from back in the day. Oh my God, it was awful. Awful. Nope. And my Clark Duncan reference. I appreciate that. Trey Parker of South Park fame said Armageddon would have been better if it had made entirely with puppets. Now see, Puppetgeddon. The only debate back then, Ironcaster, just so you know, about Armageddon was how much better it was than Deep Impact. Because it came out literally within weeks ahead of Armageddon. And the only saving grace of Deep Impact was that Tay Leone gets killed by the tidal wave. That's my favorite part of that movie. It's a comedy.
I would maybe actually watch that.
That's the only
if
scene
it was
worth
made with
watching.
puppets.
Yeah, Puppetgeddon might be way to go. I don't know who's in charge of puppets, and I can put in some words. Send me some like a great Snow Dub clip. Armageddon 2023. So the asteroid's coming. We send in the puppets. I'd watch that. So as the film
This
starts to
mission has
kinda,
no strings attached.
so as the film starts to come to a climax, and they're going to figure out, what is the deal with Shell City. They're going to try to get to the beach. He tried all these different things. Now you have William Hurt. You have the strangers showing up. You have all of this. And Ironcaster, describe your experience, because they get to this place. It's obviously a concrete wall. Something's wrong. And they start bursting through the wall. What are your thought processes when you realize where they really are? Like, what is going on? What's an
The unfortunate thing was, like, I had been on a stream like about a hour before I started watching the movie, and I was like, guys, I gotta go watch Dark City. And then one of the guys says, one of the guys starts like spoiling it all for me. I'm like, oh yeah, dude, like I'm just about to go watch this. So unfortunately, that twist was was ruined for me.
Oh man. Loki, we were so close to having a pure response here. Someone else had to spoil our fun.
That's what happens. That's what happens. Yeah, we're in space, and it was an immediate. Okay, I can dig this. They're on some kind of space station,
and nobody knows where they came from. Like no one, like Kiefer Sutherland's character is like, I don't know where they're from. No one knows they came from Earth. No one knows where they came. No one knows. Like it's just
how many times have you watched Twilight Zone and they haven't explained something like that?
Yeah.
Why explain it? If you can watch that, there was this Outer Limits episode. It was redone. It was Outer Limits. So this was 90s, where these people are in this this bomb shelter, and at the end of the episode, the guy gets out. He finally escapes, and it's like aliens bombing the White House and taking over the world, and everything's a wasteland. And it's like, yeah, why did you want to get out of this bomb shelter when you kind of knew what was going on, but you weren't 100% sure, so you just go ahead to check? And this has got some aspects of that. Well, you kind of know, but you don't know. But even when you find out, you want to know more, but you still don't have all the answers, and you got to kind of. And I mean, that's a beautiful shot right there. Look at that. That's absolutely beautiful.
And I'm so happy that they don't get too carried away trying to explain a bunch of stuff to us. They just they give you enough that makes you want more. If this was a perfect world, it would be setting up more information. So another Dark City film, kind of like what they did with Matrix, right? Matrix does execute well enough that it makes you want more of the story. It's not our fault that they don't know what they're doing. The
Wachowskis had nothing left to do after they
spent a decade of their lives stealing all this stuff together to piece together this film. They had freaking no plans, no script. There was no story. No idea what they're doing. They're not nearly as smart and clever as everybody said they were.
Whoa, upgrades, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I know.
Sequels.
Nos is acting What I Do During the Day. Listen, wouldn't you like to know, bro? Wouldn't you like to know? Matt's throwing some love for Deep Impact because of the tidal wave. Listen, that's the scene. That's the scene. Deep Impact is only one scene. I'll save Ironcaster the hour and a half. Just go look up the Taleone scene, and that's it. That's it. There's only one scene. Everything else is waste time. So.
I watched those as kids.
Yeah.
With like it was impossible to escape that in '98.
Yeah.
Oh, you're killing me.
No, it's just he's stalking me. I appreciate it very much. So, so I got to get to this. We have to get back to this disaster issue, Ironcaster, before we go. So, all right, look, last thoughts on Dark City before we button this all up and kind of.
It's travesty.
Hopefully, encourage people to go watch it and spread the word.
It's a travesty. I can't talk right. It feels like the morning to me. It's a travesty that this movie didn't get its feet underneath it. It didn't have legs to stand on because of a studio that just wanted to interfere, talk to the creator like he was dumb. Well, you're going to have to put a narration in here because people aren't going to get it because people are dumb. This is classic 90s cinema. And we're going to see this is happening again today. A lot of the stuff you're going to see that's going to come out over the next 20, 30 years, it's going to be a lot better than the shit you got in the 2010s and the 2020s, because people are going to come out and go, well, it was all interference. It was all studio. It was all them. Nobody had faith in anything. And they said we had to do it this way and yada, yada, yada. This movie could have been, it is something special, but it could have been something far beyond that if it had got its feet out underneath it. And it didn't just have the only, I told Pops and Ironcaster this backstage last week. The only preview I saw for this movie was on a VHS rental. That's the only preview I saw for this movie. There was nothing on TV. There was nothing on movies in the movie theater at the time. The only thing I saw was I had rented something from either Hollywood Video or Blockbuster, and there was a preview for this movie on it. And that made me scratch my head and go, I wonder what this is about. And it's got Kiefer Sutherland in it. And at the time, that was enough to get me to go see it. I'd liked Three Musketeers. I'd liked him in Flatliners. I'd liked him in some other stuff. So it was enough for me to go, okay, I'll go see it because it's got Kiefer Sutherland in it. It could have been so much more in the eyes of audiences. There are some film critics that absolutely love this movie, Ebert being one of them. And me and that guy don't always agree, but I agree with him completely. He used to use this movie in his film class. That's saying something.
He said it was the best film of the year, even over Saving Private Ryan. And he actually recorded an entire commentary for the DVD track, which I assume is carried over into all the subsequent versions. Yeah, he totally got this film.
I think he even compared this at one point to both Metropolis and 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Akira, too. I couldn't believe it when I heard Ebert talking about Akira. I was like, holy crap balls. He's talking about Akira and how this is kind of like Akira. And the Alex said that some of the end of the movie is inspired from Akira itself. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Ebert would key in on that and see that, and I didn't even think about it at the time. That was me in anime mode back in the 90s. I was manga everything, and I didn't catch that until I heard it from Ebert and then read it when we were starting to dive into this movie. So that's nuts. Yeah,
it's really just such an underrated gem. And Ebert is he's one of us, but he has sort of like odd quirks and stuff of how his emotional, because unlike sort of like a revisiting process to evaluate a film, and back in the day, he'd do his one screening and he has to go on camera and give his opinion. And it was pretty tough to damage your reputation, to change your mind back in the day. Like, that's not a cool thing to do. You were kind of held to what you said. So a lot of times I think when things, ruminate and you kind of change, you grow up, you may have different responses to different kind of films. And he was kind of trapped in this persona and this business that he basically was part of. So what about you, Ironcaster? Listen, I mean, I'm so happy that you came away just totally in love with it the way we do. And can't wait to hear more of your thoughts if you watch it again.
Yeah, this is one that definitely had me kind of thinking about. It kind of had me delving into a little bit of some tabletop stuff. I was kind of thinking about other sorts of games that were kind of familiar. It was kind of drawing me to some of the sort of bigger the movies. Other movies have had that bigger scope that they've tried to do. Like, for example, things like Dune comes to mind, both with some of the costume designs, kind of the idea of John here is sort of that sleeper that's awakened, that's gone on to essentially kind of take that next step of human evolution. And now he has this ability to sort of shape the way things go forward. This has some ambitious sets, and this is something I'm going to be probably going through and finding some stuff for some inspiring wallpaper art. Like, I need some like rooftops at night.
You have to find some crow rooftops for you. That's what you need. Go check out the crow. Matt, I have no idea what to say, bro. This is so heavy and deep about flat earthers, and the Earth is oblate spheroid. It's flat in 3 dimensions. Yeah, that's heavy. It's heavy stuff. Nas is blowing around some love for Blade Runner and Akira. No objection from any of us. CBR is pointing out how Marissa Tomei is aged gracefully. Amen, brother. And Project Cambridge. So this is a slow film noir film, like an anime film to a series. Pot Labor, the movie. Did I say that right? Pot Labor had a real nice mystery to it for a mecha themed cop show film. Shades of the same thing you were talking about. Okay, I'm gonna write that down, put it on my list.
I know the one you're talking about. I gotta see that at some point. So it's still outside of my wheelhouse.
All right. Well, I'll have to get Ironcaster on board with some older disaster movies that were actually good and not this popcorn nonsense that were listed before. I'm talking about like Tower Inferno and Poseidon Adventure, bro. You got to watch the OGs. You got to watch the classic with all the practical effects. I just did a TBT on Tower Inferno, and I was blown away at the practical effects. It was really, really fascinating. So,
how about we compromise and go for Godzilla?
No.
Dun, 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 dun. I'll watch Godzilla all day long.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do Godzilla in June, right? Kaijun. We're gonna do something.
Kaijun.
So by the time we get to June, I will have been caught. So I did it. So for those of you got teaser alert on Thursday's Throwback Thursday, the guys were blowing up with me about making sure I was doing this right. So I watched the original Godzilla, the Japanese uncut, and the Godzilla Raids Again are free on Pluto. So they're the Japanese uncuts. Then you can go over to Tubi and you can watch the English Americanized versions, right? Now
with Raymond Burr.
Yeah, Raymond Burr. And then, so here's my take on it. I actually like watching both. I almost feel like I'm watching one giant movie because I feel like I'm watching what actually happened in Japan. And then I'm watching like an American sort of like take
view. Yeah.
I don't know that any one undoes the other. I almost feel like I needed a super cut of like pieces, like it's all pieced together properly. So that's kind of my spoiler alert type take on that. Throwback Thursday this week is my Godzilla love. And then hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll do another round of some. I was going to try to do the King Kongs. I just ran out of movie because it turned into being a 5-movie project by doing the originals and the American version. It turned to 5 movies this weekend. Okay, quiet shout out to Mrs. Pops, by the way. She put up with a lot of Godzilla playing in the background. We had a lot of Godzilla going on in the house this weekend. And, you know, again, like I said, the one is subtitled. So I'm watching that one. But then when the other one's playing, I didn't watch as much of the we're just listening to it and we're puzzling. So she put up with a lot of Godzilla this weekend. So shout out to Mrs. Pops, who will never watch this, but you never know. You guys will message her or something. Who knows? But no, listen, a soft spot for Godzilla versus Megalon. So listen, there's a whole litany. By the way, if you do not have them, I'm telling you what, man, Tubi and Pluto, it is a godsend. And by the way, if you go to Pluto, it's very confused. Pluto is very, very frustrating app because when you go there, you end up getting sucked into their live TV channel part of it all. But at the bottom, there's an on-demand button, and you can go and there's hundreds of movies and shows, hundreds, because they just play commercials. I don't know why Pluto is so much bigger than Tubi as far as some of the library aspects. It's just different. It's massive. Matt, couldn't agree more. Tower Inferno is a masterpiece. It's incredible. It's a master class on some of this stuff. It's incredible. So Tower Inferno was awesome. Yes. This is just a Tubi snapshot. By the way, those posters, it's so addictive. Just get sucked into the Godzilla universe with the beautiful
Those are
posters.
the Criterion. Those are the Criterion versions. Okay, yeah. So the ones with the name sideways next to the movie picture, those are all the Criterion collection versions. So that's what you're watching. If anybody out there is wondering, because I know someone commented on the Criterion ones, those are all the remasters, and they are different. I was having that conversation with you guys. So the Criterion remasters, the music that was in the American version of the films, some of that's gone. The goofy dialogue is gone in the Criterion remasters, and it has been retranslated. You're not getting the TV versions you used to get as a kid. So like Godzilla versus the Sea Monster is not the Godzilla versus the lobster movie that you saw when you were a kid, where you were laughing because they were playing beach ball and had the goofy music. That stuff's been changed. So you're not getting exactly what you got when you were a kid watching the Godzilla movies, but you at least get what they intended. If you want that goofy American version, There's actually a place in New York you can order those on DVD, but that's it. That's the only place you're going to get them. They're not official. They are not official releases from Toho or from the companies that were putting those Godzilla movies in Americans' theaters back then.
Well, I tell you, I really enjoyed watching. I haven't watched the original Japanese Toho one in a long time. It was a lot of fun. Really was impressed with the score. I think I said that to you guys in our private chat, was about the score, and the music was just so underappreciative, I think. And then, of course, the American version kind of messes with it a little too much, in my opinion. But I will admit, though, I grew up on the Raymond Burr version, because that's what would have been played on my Saturdays, because my Saturday was my creature feature day, because this was what played every Saturday after the cartoons were over. When I was a kid in the 70s, this stuff ended, cartoons were over, you had baseball or you had creature feature. Now, it depended on what was on, because if it was if I was like 9 and they started playing Carnival of Souls and my mom was around, I couldn't watch that. I'd have to wait till she either wasn't around or I was a little bit older. I'd have to go over to baseball. And then, of course, baseball I could get out of watching, because if it wasn't a team I was interested in. So those were the two things how my life was growing up as a kid. It was those two little worlds on a Saturday. So, and Joseph did answer our question. For those of you asking, the Pluto is because of CBS and Viacom money. Yeah, that makes sense. So,
I mean, both are good. Also, at the end of the day,
this has been talked about. CBR. This has been talked about as like a riff, but Riff Tracks did it so good. I actually saw the Riff Tracks in theaters. Ironcaster. Mrs. Pops went with me. It was a blast. We had a ball. It was great. By the way, I don't know that I could even touch how great of a job they did of tearing that movie up. So, yeah,
I might have that in my Riff Tracks library, because, of course, I wind up buying some of the release of these things.
Listen, Matt's showing off. See, Matt's just showing off. Like I don't even say right there. Like, this is guys like a freaking encyclopedia. Yes, absolutely. I just did TBT on it. You got it, man. You're rocking and rolling with the names. It's an incredible cast. And again, to have these stars like Steve McQueen and Paul Newman agree to be on a set that's going to be flooded and smoke and water and fire and not stunt doubles. That's them. It's incredible stuff. So, okay. All right, guys. Well, I think we're good to go. Dark City, tell your friends. It's great stuff. Yeah, such an underrated, to me, one of the most underrated films of all time. I couldn't agree more. Loki, so obviously our morning show rolling along this week. Lots of stuff going on. What else you got planned the rest of the week, brother?
Well, I'm going to do a YouTube talk tomorrow about quality. Giving people quality instead of just throwing shit out there and seeing what sticks. Giving people quality entertainment, whether that is through videos, whether that is through live streams, whatever you're doing, bring a level of quality and professionalism to your work, and people will notice. Thursday, I've got someone dropping by for Thirsty Thursday, so Pops will once again take my the co-pilot chair for Thirsty Thursday, and we'll have a little back and forth about something, whatever the hell is going on. Probably talk about that Tom Cruise thing with Steven Spielberg, where Steven Spielberg was like, "You single-handedly saved the industry, boy. Thank you, Tom. It's all you, brother."
Yeah, the people at Sony are kind of like, well, wait a minute. What about us? We want a little bit of credit there, Tom. So
I'm sure James Cameron said the same thing.
Well, no, Cameron said, yeah, he's his own egomaniacal echo chamber. So yeah, that's possible. Yeah, who knows what will drop in today and tomorrow? Like, who, for those of you who don't know, spoiler alert, when I'm with Loki, I don't know what everybody else does, but I'm with Loki. At least twice, we had no idea, and we were literally in the green room. What do you want to talk about? I don't know. What do you want to talk about? I don't know. What do you want to talk about? I literally are like the vultures from the old animated Jungle Book. Don't do that again. Yeah, it's like us going back and forth about something. So, yeah. So listen, that's how we roll sometimes, because you just get what you get because we're just that transparent. So, so busy week ahead on the Mornings of Mischief. So it'll be awesome to look forward to there. So, Ironcaster, what's going on, Mr. Common Rider? Still rolling along, brother.
I am. Yeah, we're up to episodes 11 and 12 of Kamen Rider 01. So again, if it's free on Tubi, and it's something good for modern superhero stuff. If you don't want to watch She-Hulk twerking, which is just the biggest target, I know. If you don't want to watch Ant-Man this weekend, come watch an actually good show. Like, that's obviously one of my best recommendations. I think it's something that people should give a shot at, because it's not just the same Marvel DC stuff you're used to. It's a change of pace.
Awesome.
And then Friday I will be on 32 Flavors of Nick Weisers for the Friday Night Comic Shop stream, where we're doing a bit of an open mic to kind of talk about some of the stuff we've been reading. And I've got a bit of a backlog I've been going through.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear you're catching up on your backlog and hear about it on Nick's channel. That'd be awesome to look forward to. So a different theme show, nearly themes pretty much most days of the week with me. So those of you know, tomorrow is Comic Book Wednesdays. So kicking off Comic Talk tomorrow, 10:15. James Mealy will be doing another episode of Why Is This Great? We'll pick a single comic book, talk about that issue. Thursday, Throwback Thursday. So we do a throwback video on something older movie that I recommend, or something that I think is enjoyable. Friday's usually kind of like a catch-up day, got movie reviews, things like that happen. But Saturday morning cartoons, baby, rolling along just great. Having a great time doing Saturday morning cartoons, X-Men animated, Batman animated series every Saturday morning, 9:30. And then, of course, on Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern, I do my What's Your Story? And great guests this week. Ryan the Machine, Ryan Roger Athay will be with me explaining and sharing some of the life lessons and words of wisdom that he has gathered with Reality Based. A guy that didn't want to do live streaming has now, can you believe this, guys? He has done 50 to 60 by the time this drops on Sunday. A guy didn't want to do it. A guy that was telling us how he would never do it, Now look at him go. So I got to talk about like what are some of the take homes from the show to this point. So catch that on Sunday morning if you can. So that's awesome. So thanks again to all of you in chat. Those wonderful people, great creators, just awesome folks. It's awesome to have each and every one of you here with us. Love talking hard. Next week, talk about another underrated. I don't know if underrated's fair. Underappreciated. I don't know if that's fair. It went up against Batman 89. I can tell you that, because so we'll have fun stories to share. An obscene and then something that they don't do anymore, right? We are not going to get parody anymore. I don't know when we're going to have parody again. But yeah, UHF. Talk hard about UHF and the insanity that is Weird Al Yankovic's film. Just a giant mockery of so many things interwoven in this very little silly, simple story. And I got to be honest, I love watching it just as much now as I did in the theater. I have a blast with it. So I don't know about you guys. I know Ironcaster does, but Loki's been pretty quiet on the Weird Al front. I don't know. So nothing.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
I thought just
Loki's
because it was.
I've never been a big fan. So I've never been a big fan of Weird Al Yankovic.
Loki's just mad he didn't find the marble in the oatmeal.
The guy who used to blow up the watermelons, he was funny. The Weird Al guy, I could give a shit. I don't know. Some people are like, I liked him in Transformers, the movie, 1985. So I'll give you that. There you go. I liked your song in Transformers. The rest of it, I'm like, I don't care. You want to do a Slim Shady video or whatever? Okay.
I think that you just need to see Mike as the guy that's teaching poodles to fly, and you'll understand it's so different. It's much more layered than you realize, is what I think. So anyway, listen, not every pick can be, I guess, but yeah, we're gonna throw that out there. It's again, I appreciate the fact that someone has made a career out of doing parody. And I agree, not everything is funny, not everything hits a home run for me either, but there's something. He's also very fearless. He's done some really crazy stuff. Like, he's totally fearless. I did see him in concert back in the day, and dude got in that freaking fat costume, man. I could not believe it. It was freaking insane. The amount of costume changes he had and stuff like that. It was nuts. So And yes, the chat's going crazy with all of the silly stuff. Yes, I want to pay some tribute to. Yeah. Who wants to drink from the fire hose, Matt? Who wants to drink from the fire hose? Yes. So anyway, folks,
Twinkie wiener sandwich.
well, that was his. Oh, wow, that was like a staple on MTV back in the day. Twinkie wiener. He would do them like on the air. He would take a Twinkie, cut it open, put a hot dog in the middle, and start eating it. There were no edits. Dude he's insane. He really is crazy. He does all these crazy things. I don't know. Part of his stick, I guess. I don't know. So, but listen, guys, be blessed. Make tomorrow better than today. And if anything else, just have some fun. Talk hard. Oh man, I was going to play Nazi, and I realized they copyright flag. I need to take those videos out. They won't let those fly. So I got to take those videos out. Let's go to this little OG. I had a great conversation with Padawannabe recently. So let's just pay another tribute to Padawannabe eating like Ironcaster chased his with Taco Bell sauce. But we'll have the true soldier. Okay. Take care, folks.
So I stacked all the pieces here. We're gonna.
Oh, he went for the hardcore. I wish I could see Loki's face. Padawannabe is the boss.
You're the boss, brother.
You're the boss. We are clipping this. This will be a new clip.
It's like Dusty Pop Rocks with no pop.
Dusty Pop Rocks
with no pop. Holy cow!
There's no way that's gum anymore.
It's just no taste at all.
It still tasted like chewing gum, but there's
no, you're a soldier, brother.
it just turns to dust. There's no